Okay, so obviously right now I'm not wearing any makeup, so I'm ready to try to apply it. I'm gonna use a beauty blender because that's what I usually use to apply foundation. So for me, it's really easy to compare it with that. I have the shade 110, which is Ivory, which is a cool tone undertone. I'm not 100% sure the color is gonna be a perfect match, but that's another reason I really wanted to test it out right away. That way I can exchange it if I need to. So first impression, I do feel like it might be a little lighter than, like, my body's always darker than my face no matter what, so we'll see. I don't have a lot of imperfection to cover. I do have a bit of redness on my cheeks, and I still have a little bit of the rash that I was mentioning earlier, but oh well. Okay, so first impression. The formula is actually pretty thick, but doesn't seem to be like moussey or anything, so I don't really smell a scent, which is good for me. Okay, so let's start. I'm gonna apply it on half my face to see the amount of coverage and the color and everything. By the way, whenever I mentioned that I bought this foundation, that everybody was asking for first impression. I have a little hair somewhere, I'm sorry. So everyone was mentioning that they had like very different skin type and it was working for them, whether they had oily skin, dry skin, so that was really impressive. So I've been really curious to try it on my face. Everyone was saying there was a good amount of coverage. Obviously, if you apply it with a sponge, there's always less coverage than if you apply it with a brush or even your hands if you like that. I personally like lighter-ish coverage. That's why I like applying it with the Beauty Blender. Plus, it always makes it look so much more natural, which that's why I pretty much always use it. This is one coat using my Beauty Blender. As you can see, my face looked pretty darn flawless whenever you can't see the redness, you don't see any more of the rash. I swear there's little hairs everywhere, I'm really sorry. So it gives me a pretty nice glowy finish. I like the coverage, it doesn't seem to be cakey. Let me approach the mirror a little bit. I didn't apply any primer because I never do it whenever I do first impression. It does seem to be a little bit in my pores right here. I will zoom you in as soon as I finish the whole face, but it does seem good everywhere except a little bit here, which not that big of a deal. I'm gonna do the other half. I swear, do you see these? Like there's little balls of fur or something. What's going on? Okay, so now that I did my full face, I'm gonna zoom you in so you can see my pores, and I'm a little worried how it's gonna look like because I do have some pretty dry patches around in between my brows and a little bit on my nose. Okay, I'm hoping you can see it. It did settle a little bit into my pores, and like I said, it does, I feel like it accentuated a little bit the dryness, but we'll see throughout the day if it makes it worse or not. First impression, it does give me like medium coverage. Like I did have a little bit of a pimple right here. You can still see it a little bit, but it did cover most of it, like most of the redness and everything. And like I said, if you apply it with a brush, you would get more coverage. I personally don't love full coverage. I don't like the look, I don't like the feel. I do feel the foundation on my face right now, but it's not really bad. It's not like, oh my god, I need to take it off, like it feels like a mask. It's not the case whatsoever. I like the finish that looks natural on the rest of my face, but again, like I said, the middle of my face is a little bit more dry and I feel like I can see it a little bit. Sometimes the foundation gets better as the day goes by, sometimes it doesn't, so that's why I will update you at the end of the day to let you know how I feel about it. So far, I think it looks like it's going to be a great foundation. However, I don't know if it's going to be my type of foundation. So I'll update you in a little bit. I'm going to do the rest of my makeup. So I quickly wanted to update you. I applied the rest of my makeup. I just am about to go do a first impression of mascara. That's why I'm not wearing any eye makeup. But I applied the rest of my makeup over the top of the foundation and it worked beautifully. I applied the tiniest little amount of powder just on my forehead because like the lighting in my face right now was so bright that it was a little bit too shiny. But I didn't apply any where my skin is dry. So I could see if the foundation is drying me out or not and not accuse the powder. So my makeup went really well over the top. I have no complaint. I actually didn't apply any highlighters because I feel like my skin is really glowy naturally with it. So far so good. I do feel like I had to use quite a bit of the foundation, like 30 pumps. I didn't like count, which I should have, but I feel like I applied quite a bit. Usually I would apply like 1 or 2 pumps whenever I use a foundation, but this one is much more like more full coverage, so that could explain it. I feel like next time I'm going to try to see how light I can apply it because it's just personal taste, obviously. So far it looks good. I feel like on camera I really look like I have flawless skin. Whenever you apply like light coverage foundation, you can see a little bit of thing. With this, can't see any imperfections. So that's it for now. I will update you at the end of the day. Quickly wanted to mention, I was getting ready for another video and I noticed that it did oxidize on me. I'm not sure you're gonna be able to tell on camera, but I would say it oxidized like half to a shade darker, which personally makes the foundation match me better for like a longer time during the year, so I'm kind of happy about it. I know someone actually mentioned it during my Sephora haul, so you were right. It does oxidize a little bit. It's nothing crazy, it's not like 10 shade darker or like really orangey, but just something you might want to keep in mind whenever you're purchasing it, because I wasn't sure between this one and the darker cool tone shade. Was it like 220 or something like that? Definitively happy I went with the lighter one. So it's been 10 hours since I applied the foundation. I wanted to update you at the end of the day to let you know how I feel about the foundation. Honestly, I did feel it a little bit towards the end of the day on my face. It wasn't like really heavy or really drying that I needed to take it off, but I just felt like, I just thought I wouldn't mention it because I did feel it. I have to say it didn't create any dry patches and didn't emphasize any more than it did in the morning. It barely does it a little bit in between my brows and a little bit on my nose. So overall, I would say it's a great foundation that gives you like medium to full coverage. I would see why it would work for most skin type, especially if you have a little bit oily skin, like a combination skin. I would see this working really well for you. I have to say, if you have really dry skin and a lot of dry patches, if you really want to go for this foundation, I would say exfoliate and moisturize your skin properly before, but honestly, you can get away with it. I wasn't sure how the color would work for me because it was more on the lighter side, but because it oxidized a little bit, the color is good. Right now it might be a little dark for my body. I don't think you can really see it actually on camera, never mind, but I feel like it's gonna work for me more year-round-ish, not really during summer, but the color is actually a great match. It's not as pink tone as I was thinking. Actually, let me swatch it on my hand. So as you can see, it's pretty pink tone whenever you swatch it, but it's on my face right now. So as you can see, it does oxidize just a little bit. As I mentioned earlier, I'm more used to like light medium coverage. So of course for me, whenever I see it from up close, I'm like, I can see I'm wearing foundation, but when I look at myself in the mirror that is like next to the camera, my skin actually looks very flawless. I wasn't wearing any highlight and my skin gives me a really natural glow. It didn't dry it out whatsoever. Quite frankly, I'm just not used to this type of foundation, but it's actually growing on me. I wasn't sure how it would be at the end of the day, but it still looked flawless. Actually, let me zoom you in. It looks really natural, and even in between my brows and my nose, you can barely see any dryness, so it's really not that bad. But I didn't have like a really dry patch to really test it on, but gives you an idea. Do I think this foundation is a new holy grail for me? Maybe not. I think it's something that's actually going to grow on me whenever I want more coverage and I really want that flawless effect. But do I think that most people would actually love it? Yes. So if you were looking to try this foundation, I say go ahead. Big thumbs up on my part. I look at myself in the screen, I'm like, actually it looks really good on camera, so might be a new filming foundation. So that's it guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments if you have tried this foundation, what you think, are you planning to? Don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up and to subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.